Hi everyone, we're going to find the sum of each geometric series, and I have 6 problems here. Here's the first one, and the formula we're going to use is the sum of a geometric series, which is your first term times 1 minus r to the nth power over 1 minus r. So we have our first term, which is 1 over 4th. I'm just going to let a equal my first term so I don't have to keep writing the 1. It looks like a comma sometimes. Now my r in this case is what you do is you take your one term and divide it by the So we're going to take 2/4, divide it by 1/4, and the 4's cancel, and that just leaves us 2. So my r is 2. Alright, and so what we're going to do is write the sum, especially since we're ending on a within there, is going to be 1/4, which is your first term, times 1 minus r to the nth over 1 minus r, which is 2. And what happens is you get 1/4 times 1 minus 2 to the n times -1, which is 1/4. I'm just going to pull this negative out. Okay, I'm going to do this over here. If I pull this negative out, let's forget about the 1/4. Let's just look at this. Let's look at that. So we're going to pull the -1 out. So that's going to be 1 minus 2 to the little n over -1. Alright. And I'm going to pull out the -1, so that's going to be +1. And when you multiply these two, you're going to get -1 plus 2n to the nth. So this is going to be 2 to the little n minus 1. So basically I'm just pulling out a negative and making it positive down here. And it makes it a nicer looking sum. Okay, the next one is very similar. So I'm going to write this as a equals 3 over 9. My first term is 3 over 9, right there, and my r is just going to be 3, because all I'm doing is I'm taking 3 squared over 9, I'm taking the next term, divided by the previous term, over 3 over 9. That cancels, and so you're going to get 9 over 3, which equals 3. Or you can just kind of see you keep multiplying by 3. And we use our sum formula, and we're going to get our first term, which is really going to be 1/3. This will be reduced to 1/3. And then it's going to be 1 minus r to the nth over 1 minus 3. And this is going to give you equals 1/3 times 1 minus 3 to the little n over -2. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply these two and do what I did last time with this. So let me do it again. I'm going to multiply the 2 times the 3, and I'm going to get 1/6. And that negative, I'm going to pull out a negative here. And if this would be 2, and 1 minus 3 to the n. And when you do that, that's going to be -1 plus 3n, 3 to the little n. So we're going to get 3 to the little n minus 1. So again, I went ahead and multiplied these two, and then I pulled out the negative and made it look a lot nicer. Okay, so that is the way you write that. Okay, the next one, we have a summation notation sign. So very clearly on this one, we can see that our first term, if we wrote this out, I'm going to go 1 to n. If I plug in 1 for k, I get 2/3. If I plug in 2, I'm going to get 4/9. If I plug in 3, I'm going to get 8/27. So in your last term would just be 2/3 to the n, because that would be your last term there. So basically my first term is 2/3. My r is also 2/3, because we just keep multiplying this by 2/3. Or, again, you take one term, you could take either one. 4/9 divided by 2/3. Well, you can divide this out by, you can say 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. So that leaves you with the 2/3 there. Okay, then you use your formula. 2/3 times 1 minus 2/3 to the n power over 1 minus 2/3. Okay, and that's going to give you, I'm doing a different color, 2/3, this is going to be 1 minus 2/3 to the n, and I can change this to 3/3, so that's going to be just over 1/3. Now, what I want to do is go ahead and take care of this. So this is, when I take care of this, this is like saying 2/3 divided by 1/3, which cancels, so you're just left with 2. So you're going to get 2 times 1 minus 2/3 to the nth. And that's your final answer. Okay, the next one is very similar. We're going from k equals 1 to n, and if you plug in 1, you're going to get 4 times 3 to the 0, which just equals 4, because anything to the 0 power is 1. Alright, and you know your common ratio is 3, so we just keep multiplying by 3, and that's going to be 12. Multiply that by 3, you get 36. And then you go all the way down, dot, 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 you go to 4 times 3 to the n minus 1. So your first term is 4, your r is 3, this is in kind of standard form here, and we're just going to use our formula. S sub n equals 4 times 1 minus 3 to the n over 1 minus 3. So this will be 4 times 1 minus 3 to the little n over negative 2. Now, I can go ahead and divide these two. That's just going to be negative 2. And then I get 1 minus 3 to the n. And that's your sum. Alright? The next one I have is this one. I have my first term is negative 1. My ratio is 2. Clearly, you can just see we're multiplying each term by 2. And so I'm going to use my sum formula. And I have negative 1 times 1 minus, let's see, 1 minus 2 to the little n over 1 minus 2. Which equals negative 1 times 1 minus 2 to the little n over negative 1. I divide these two, divide these two, and that just gives me 1, which is 1 minus 2 to the n, which is, you want to not write the 1, that's just be 1 minus 2 to the little n. And that's your sum. And the last one, we look at this, so you don't have to divide all this out. We look at this, and we can see that my first term is 2. My common ratio is 3/5. So you can look at that and just pull it out from there. And if you want to check, go ahead and divide 6/5 divided by 2 equals 6/10, which is 3/5. So you can look at it that way, or you could have divided these two. So use your formula. Your first term is 2 times 1 minus 3/5 to the little n power over 1 minus 3/5. Now, you can go ahead and write this one as 5/5. So this would be 2 times 1 minus 3/5 to the nth over 2/5. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this part. This is 2 divided by 2/5, which is the same as 2 times 5/2, in which these two will cancel and you just get 5. So your answer is 5 times 1 minus 3/5 to the nth power. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.